Touch is a nose boop to the palm of our hand. We can use this as a way to redirect our dog away from something or to simply get them warmed up, focused, and ready to work with us.
Touch. Yes, touch. Yes, good boy.
For sitting down, you can see that Gus knows these on the hand signals and he's doing really well. We're still working on holding those positions and not getting up and jumping up trying to get the treat or guessing what the next thing is going to be. So you'll see sometimes he is in the sit and then he immediately goes into down before I've even had a chance to ask him. So I'm going to have him sit back up and we're going to do that again. I'm going to reward for holding that sit a little bit more and then encourage him into the down using my cue.
Down. Yes. Good boy. Yes, good boy.
Gus, for come when called, you're going to say, Gus, come. And then as soon as he turns and looks at you, you're going to mark yes and start praising. It's really important that you get that yes as soon as he looks. That's what's going to get him moving and coming to you. And then praise, praise, praise all the way to you and reward with a treat.
Yes.
Once he gets there and you've rewarded him with a treat, we also want to practice things just like reaching for him and petting him and sometimes picking him up so that we can build up his ability to be picked up easier and come when we need him to, specifically in those situations. But make sure that you're not always picking him up. We want that to be a small amount of times, and that majority of the times your hands reach for him, we're just giving him a couple little pets, reward him again, and then move on. You also want to make sure you're not always picking up when you actually need to, and that sometimes you're literally just picking him up, give him a little bit of love, and then setting him back down. We want to make sure we're not associating any patterns with being put away, like come equals you're getting picked up and put away. We want to make sure that come just means come to me. Sometimes I'm going to pet you. Sometimes I'm going to pick you up. Sometimes nothing happens. So along with kind of doing it randomly in life, I would also set aside time specifically to practice your pickup cue. So it's going to look a little bit like this. You can do this inside or outside, but you're going to call him. Again, sometimes pet him, sometimes pick him up. When you're going to pick him up, you're going to cue him pick up so that he knows what's coming and he can have a predictable outcome instead of it just feeling unpredictable to him and like hands are reaching towards him. So we want to make sure we're practicing. Call him, sometimes pet him, sometimes pick him up. Sometimes pick him up and set him immediately back down and reward. Other times you could pick him up and carry him around for a second. We just want to make sure, again, that there is no pattern, that pick up and come do not always immediately associate with being put away. That should be a very minimal amount of times that he's hearing that cue, and that most other times he's hearing that cue, whether both cues come and pick up, that it doesn't mean anything other than something positive. This is how we're going to make that improvement from it being a negative thing to him or to it being something more reliable for us and it's positive for him.
Good boy, good boy. Yes. Good boy, good boy. Nice job.
I would try to guesstimate that it's like 1 out of 10 times that he hears come and pick up that he's being put away, but that 9 out of 10 times he hears those cues, nothing happens. So with come, 9 out of 10 times we're just petting him, or we pick him up and nothing happens. We put him back down. Same with pick up, that 9 out of 10 times we pick him up, he is not being put away. We're picking him up maybe just to pet him for a second, then put him back down, or pick him up to carry him to another room if needed. But just simple stuff so that it's not associated with that being put away.
Pick up. Good job.
Place means go there, lay down, and stay there until released. So you're going to point to his bed, cueing place. Once he is laying down, then you will mark yes and reward by placing a treat on the bed. And it's really important that we place the treat on the bed. We want him to know that the food comes to him where he is and that he doesn't need to get up and meet us for it. If we start delivering the food to him from our hand directly to his mouth, he's going to start getting up in anticipation of the treat coming. So we want him to know food comes to him on the bed. So when working on place, you're going to point towards his bed and cue place. Once he's laying down, you'll say yes and place the treat on the bed. And then you can build in adding in duration of time and distractions. So you'll walk around a little bit, maybe add in some distractions. This can be things like you stomping or like feet scooting past, dropping items, opening cabinets and doors, And then you're going to periodically come back and reward him by placing a treat on the bed. And then when you're ready for him to get up, you'll use the cue word free to release him, and that lets him know he's free to get up. You do not need to reward free with a treat because the reward is that you get to get up and move at your own free will. At any point, if he gets up and you did not release him, you're simply going to point back towards his place. Like you'll see here, I'm going to say place, wait for him to lay back down, and then you're not going to reward right away. So you're going to cue him to place, and then you want him to work a little bit for it. Otherwise, what happens is they learn a loop of they can get off the bed to be asked to go back and get a treat. And we really want to make sure we're building that stay portion in there. That's the whole point of place. So you're going to send him back, make him work for it, even if it's just holding it for a few seconds, then come back and reward by placing the treat on the bed. If he's getting up often, you want to see if there's something he's struggling with. Is it duration of time between treats and he's just not ready for that long of time? Or is it something like the distraction is too big, and how can we make that distraction smaller and then build back up to the full distraction? There are two main ways to work on place, one being like this, in a formal training session where you're setting aside that time to work through distractions and duration that are hard for him. And then the other is in real life context. And so this can look like practicing during a time when you want him to be on a place. So for me, that's typically dinner time. And you'll see that here where during dinner, I'm going to put his place bed next to me so that I have access to reward him easily. And I'm going to cue him to place. And then throughout dinner, I'm going to be rewarding him periodically. If he gets up, I'll send him back. Sometimes you can just look at Gus and say his name and he knows to get back on his place. Again, wait a little bit and then reward again. And just like those formal training sessions, you're going to be rewarding frequently. And then the goal is that over time, the more you practice, the more duration of time you can build in between those rewards until eventually you don't need so many. And maybe you just need 1 or 2 treats for the whole thing. While he still gets up quite a bit at dinner for me, he has made huge improvements since his first few sessions. And so he is on the right track. He's just a wiggly little guy, and he's so excited to do the work and get the treats that sometimes he just can't help himself. But keep practicing and be diligent about it, and he will get there. He is, however, staying on the bed the whole time. Even though he's getting up a lot, he's not wandering around the house. He's getting up and taking a step or two closer to me, as you can see, and then going back to his bed when he realizes he's not going to get anything from me doing that. Wait means stop and don't go any further. So when we say wait, we're drawing an imaginary line and telling him he cannot cross it. While he's waiting, though, he can be in any position. He can sit, lay down, stand, even move around as long as he does not cross that line. And if or when we're ready to let him cross the line, then we can use that same word we use for place, which is free, to release him through that line. Wait can be really helpful on things like stairs so that we're not tripping on dogs as we go up and down the stairs. So you can cue him to wait, go up or down the stairs, and then release him to come with you. You can also practice building duration that he can wait behind that line so that if there are rooms in the house you don't want him to follow you into, you could say wait at that threshold of the door, go through, do whatever it is you need to do in that room while leaving the door open, and then he'll know to stay out of that room with you. Of course, this is also an important one to practice at any door that goes to the outside world. So the front yard or a door to the garage, if that's what you use the most often, because we don't want a dog that is darting out when we are just stepping out or when we're stepping out to get a package like you saw me doing here. So you want to practice in these situations as well. Again, he's allowed to do anything but cross that line when we say wait. And if you're not going to let him go out the door, then you do not need to release it. So if I'm stepping out to get a package, I step out, I'll say wait, step out the door, pick up the package, come back in, shut the door. And when I come in, I'm going to praise and reward him, but I do not need to release him because I'm not letting him cross that line and the door is shut so he physically cannot cross the line. If I'm going up or down the stairs, I can cue wait, go down, and then release him because I want him to. So wait only needs released if you're letting him cross that line.
Good boy.
Leave it means back away from the thing that you were headed towards. So here we are practicing with treats dropping to mimic real life situations where food that may be dangerous for him is dropped. So you're going to drop the food, say leave it. As soon as he backs away, yes, and then reward him. In real life moments, you don't often have a treat on you. So what you're going to do is what we would call a praise party to the treats. So you tell him to leave it, and then you're going to mark yes when he backs away, and then run with him, praising him all the way to the cookie jar for a treat. For crate, you're going to point towards his crate, cueing him crate. Once he goes in, yes, and then drop a treat. If he stays, drop another treat. You want to make sure to practice this outside of times when you're actually going to be putting him away so that he's building lots of repetition with it and not always associating it with being shut in it for long periods of time. Anytime you are going to need to put him in the crate because you need to leave the house, I would anticipate a couple extra minutes so that you can practice before doing that.
Bells.
So Gus has been learning the potty bells. He is not reliable yet to ring these on his own to go potty at this time, but he does know the cue bells and that it means to ring them. So when you take him home, you're first going to do this a couple times just to make sure he's got it down. He knows how to do this here, but we want to make sure that he can do it at home with you. So you're going to hold the bells, cue him to ring it, reward a few times. If he can do that pretty easily for you, the next thing you're going to do is take it to the door. One thing, though, that you might notice here that I'm doing is sometimes I'll cue him bells and he rings it and I don't say anything. And I wait till he rings it a second time. This is just to help build some persistence for him. We want him to know that if we didn't respond and we didn't hear it possibly, right, that we didn't respond to him, that he's able to ring it again to get our attention instead of just assume he can go potty. So now that you've got it at the door, practice a couple times because the bells hanging on a door or next to the door does look different than it just being in your hand in the middle of the room. So just make sure he's got it. Do that a couple times. Ask him to bells, reward him, and do that a few times. Then what you'll start doing, once that's good, this may only take 1, maybe 2 training sessions to just help him remember how to do this at your home. Then you're going to just start pairing it with the door. So every time you take him out to potty, you're going to cue bells. Once he rings it, yes, and instead of a treat, you're going to open the door and cue him outside to go potty. All right, so we're going to start our walk with the up and down pattern game. So this is the game that builds focus and attention. It's important to do this kind of before we go on a walk because if we don't have its attention in the driveway, yes, then we're not going to have it when it's time to go out on the walk and out in the world where there's more distractions. So before every walk, we're going to start like this. You're going to place the treat on the ground, wait for him to look at you, then mark yes and reward by placing another treat on the ground, which continues the pattern. It is very important that you're waiting for him to offer that attention back to you versus kind of telling him or getting his attention. Yes, the point of this game is to help him build focus, let him kind of tell us he's ready to go, and also teaching him that checking in with us brings good things. Versus him waiting to be kind of told to check in or to look at us. We want a dog that is just doing that on their own naturally. So we're just going to wait. Yes! When he looks, we drop a treat. Yes! And we're looking for a quick response like this. If you can do that back to back a few times, yes, then we know he's focused and he's ready to go. Good boy. Sorry, buddy, I'm slow. There we go. Good job. And now we're going to do a couple of this pattern on the go before we head out on the walk. So I'm going to wait till he looks. Yes! We're going to take a few steps now, and then I'm going to place the treat on the ground. And we're going to do this until we hit the road, and then we'll just start walking. So again, I'm going to wait for him to look at me. Morning. So we're going to wait till he offers us that attention back, and then we will continue the pattern. Yes! Good job. Right here. What we want him to see is that checking in with us gets him movement forward. He did pretty good. That was a big distraction of somebody walking by. Yes! Good boy. And when you do this pattern and you're walking, yes! Make sure that you place the treat right at your side because we want all the good stuff to happen right next to us. All right, so now we're out on our walk with Gus. We're going to talk about the main things we're doing with the leash walking. Yes! When we're walking and he's walking the way we want him to, we're going to do what we call rewarding good choices. So when he's walking nicely next to us, or maybe even a little in front, but that leash is still loose, we're going to mark yes! And we're going to place our hand right at our side and reward him. It's important that even if he's in front like he just was, that our treat reward is still coming right at our side. Yes! This teaches him all the good stuff happens back here, which is going to encourage him to walk closer to us and stay on a loose leash. As well as when we're doing this, we want to make sure we're rewarding with the hand closest to him. If you start crossing over in front, you're going to have a dog that is crossing in front of you to get the treats instead of meeting you at the side that you want. So by doing this, rewarding good choices, what we're doing is focusing on, let's go, teaching him what we want him to do. Yes. Instead of kind of waiting for him to do the things we don't like and correcting it, we're going ahead and teaching him exactly what we want him to do, which is when you're walking nicely, you will get rewarded for that. If he is starting to crisscross, you're going to just kind of hold on to the leash. So like he is now, I'm going to guide him back over here gently, step around him, and try to keep him to that side. Yes! Good boy. Again, rewarding right at your side is going to make a huge difference with this as well. Good boy, Gus. Obviously, we do want to allow time for sniffing and checking things out. That's a big part of being a dog. And so we want to give him those opportunities when it's safe. But when we're ready to go, if he hasn't moved on, then we're going to cue him. Let's go. And that's his kind of cue that we're going to move on. So I'm going to give him a second to sniff, and then we're going to, let's go. Yes, good boy. We're going to cue him and then reward him for coming along with us. Good boy, Gus. Right now, you're going to be rewarding 100% of good choices until you're seeing your walks look pretty much exactly like what you would want them to with those 100% rewarding of treats. Then you'll move down to 75% of good choices, 50%, and 25% until you can kind of wean down on all the treats when walking. But that's going to happen over time. You want to do it slowly, no cold turkey, or you're going to lose the behavior you want. Yeah. Yes. If you say yes and he doesn't respond, just go ahead and stop, put your hand at your side, and wait for him to come back to receive the treat at your side. Ideally, he's going to respond as soon as you say yes. Yes! Like that, right? He kind of turned his head and looked my direction. But if he doesn't, just go ahead and stop and wait for him to kind of come back to you. We want to make sure he's responding to those cues when we're out on a walk and not just being distracted. Other things that you can do to help him with his leash skills are just being focused on him, paying attention to what he's doing, rewarding him, praising him, just overall engaging with him. Oop. And again, if he crosses like that, we're going to guide him back over right here, over to the side we want him on. Good boy. And continue our walk. We want to encourage him to stay on whatever side it is you want him on. Yes! And again, by rewarding right at your side, that is what's going to help that. So make sure when you're doing this, you are rewarding with that hand closest to him. So you're going to reach for your pouch. Yes! And then deliver the treat right at your side. Good boy, Gus. Good job. Good boy, Gus. And that's a wrap on Gus's training.